What do you think of the idea of avoiding grindy reps, like terminating a set of squats when bar velocity slows significantly? This really, really depends what you're doing and why you're doing it. If you're somebody who wants to get a heavier back squat, heavier deadlift, a heavier bench press, there is absolutely no way you should be stopping any of those reps once they start to slow down. When we're doing these absolute expressions of absolute 1 rep max strength, you're going to have some slowing down of the barbell. You're looking for maximal force expression, and the speed the barbell's moving at does not matter. Now, that's not to say that if you start to get a massive degradation in positions and you're going back and rounding your back, or you're putting too much weight on your heels during the deadlift and you're getting off balance, all of these things might lead to the barbell slowing down, and you should definitely pay attention to those things. But the slowing down of the barbell during maximal strength work is not something that should be avoided. And if you want to be as strong as you possibly can, it's just something that's going to happen. What I will say is there is a definite group of people who should be paying attention to the velocity the barbell is moving at. And when those groups are really in-season athletes, so people who are doing 1 or 2 gym sessions per week, they're playing games or they're having matches at the weekend. Like if you're about to go into a fight or about to go into a jiu-jitsu competition, you shouldn't be moving the barbell very slowly because the weight is incredibly heavy, but that then becomes a loading issue. And so you don't really need to pay attention to barbell velocity. You just need to make sure you're not having to grind out really hard reps in the weeks or months leading into a fight or leading into a big game or competition. The last group here will be someone like a track and field person, a sprinter, a high jumper, a long jumper, a weightlifter. In those cases, when you're in that season specific area and you're just kind of maintaining your strength numbers, then you should be looking, or you could be looking at barbell velocity there. You don't want to be grinding through those really heavy reps again. But in most cases, and I think a lot of people watching this stream are going to be here to get heavier back squats, heavier deadlifts, heavier bench presses. And in that case, you have to be going for those slower, heavier reps, or else you're never going to push your 1RM number to the point where it could be.
For, like Darren said, for in-season athletes, velocity-based training, or not necessarily velocity-based training, but measuring velocity as a notable variable for that athlete, incredibly useful. One thing you do need to note as well is that the velocity is person dependent. So it needs to be relevant to your own data. So it needs to be relevant to your 1 rep max and your 80%. So you can't use a generic grid for velocity-based training because the numbers are so sensitive and they vary so largely that you have to have data on yourself. Velocity-based training for purely strength-based athletes is as useful as measuring how far out the plates go as the training block goes heavier. You're literally measuring something that you know is going to get slower, and making decisions after that doesn't really make any sense. Now, one area I know some people like to do is they like to measure velocity of a certain percentage for a certain number of sets, and they like to get the average velocity change, and hopefully it goes faster. That is fine. That's totally okay. If you like to use that as a metric for progression, perfectly okay. I don't encourage it. Dara doesn't encourage it. We don't care if people use it. It's novel data, and if it keeps you happy in your own training, it's perfect. Go right ahead. But I certainly wouldn't be making any decisions based off of that, because really in strength training, if it's not obvious to you that it's too slow at the wrong time, then you've got bigger issues. If you need a metric, a bar tracker for someone who's strength training, if you need to see that something's too slow, you don't have enough experience coaching. Now you might, if you're trying to coach yourself, could use that. But what I would imagine would probably happen in a lot of cases there is someone who gets super neurotic and then delves too far into that data and not understand how to interpret it because they lack the understanding of programming. So for athletes, Supwa, great idea. For strength training, complete waste of time, I think. Can be nice to see if you want it to be, but I'm going to be making very little decisions on it for purely strength-based athletes.